Three, two, one. And here we go once again. North and South America and all the ships at sea, everywhere around the world. It is Mind of the World with your host, Jerry Hakel. We are coming to you almost live from the Ashley Kringen studio of the UBS network. So what's on the mind of the world today? Quite a lot. Pope was in America. Some called it Popapalooza. Those who were trying to trying to get a comical reaction. So, and the Pope, Pope Francis, addressed Congress not as a religious leader, but as the head of state of the Vatican, which apparently is a country all to itself. I did not know that. You learn something if you live long enough, I guess. But he had a lot of things to say about being nice to the downtrodden and all that sort of jazz there. And he's perfectly right. One thing that he waited until he was safely back home in the Vatican to say was that America is wrong for persecuting that lady in Kentucky for not being able to grant marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Imagine that. The liberals did not mention that, did they? But I read about that. But they all conveniently ignored that. And I guess that's so. What else is going on? Interesting. Let's getting away from politics into the entertainment news. A new show called Blood and Oil came out on the ABC network. It takes place in North Dakota, one of our neighbors to the north. As a matter of fact, if you head north, eventually you get to North Dakota. If you make it to Canada, you went too far, so just back up just a tad. I spent some of the best years of my life in Minot for 6 months. Is that possible? Well, okay. So for 6 months, I visited Minot. I see here. I never registered to vote. Never got license plates, anything like that, in North Dakota. But I lived in Minot for 6 months as a student. 6 months, yes, and it was, other than being 32 below and very, very cold, and over this past summer, I saw that it was 100 degrees in Minot, North Dakota. And believe me, if it can be 100 degrees in Minot, North Dakota, we may have to re-examine our position on global warming and climate change and all that sort of jazz, right? Like that. So, okay, Blood and Oil takes place in Rock Springs, North Dakota, something like. I forget the exact name of the town, but it's actually filmed in Utah. Those of you who live in North Dakota noticed that right away. I lived in Minot, North Dakota for 6 months. I never saw a molehill, let alone some of the glorious Rocky Mountains that they have out there in Utah, which, of course, played the part of North Dakota. And from what the locals, the actual residents of North Dakota, are very upset that Utah is playing North Dakota in this particular TV show, and they're they're not exactly willing to give Utah an Emmy. Apparently, they think North Dakota can play North Dakota better than Utah can. And, well, we'll see. Other than that, Don Johnson is fairly well as the Baron of the Bakken, Mr. Briggs, and there's the rest of the cast is pretty much unknown to me. I have never seen anyone except for the holdout farmer who he's I can't remember the actor's name, but he played the sheriff in Dallas. Interestingly enough, this is supposed to be sort of a different. Well, Cynthia Sidre, the creator, or the head writer, executive producer of the showrunner, they call him now. She started this after messing up with Dallas. She decided to start fresh with this, and I must say, it's a well-written show. You can tell this there's the character, Mr. Briggs, Hap Briggs, played by Don Johnson. He's sort of an amalgam, he's rough and tough, like Blake Carrington, Jock Ewing of old, and so he plays his part rather well. The cast of unknowns, especially the young married couple who come to North Dakota broke and fall into their first million, so to speak. I don't want to spoil the premiere episode for those of you who haven't seen it, but well, it's a good show. We'll see how it does. But the people in North Dakota aren't too happy with that. But I'm keeping an open mind. Donald Trump, getting back to politics, come out with his tax plan, and it sounds pretty good to me. Some of my friends may want to kidnap me later on, put me in a warehouse, tie me to a chair, and beat on me with an organic carrot until I regain my senses. But no, it sounds good. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop to see what the critics have to say. The people who, but apparently he's going to make it so that poor folks don't have to pay very much in the way of taxes, and that the hedge fund managers who aren't taxed as much currently get soaked. I don't know how he's going to do that, but well, he's got a year to convince us that he can. Well, less than a year. He has to get the nomination first, but so far, until the actual voters do the actual voting, like we talked about last time, he's got a good shot at that. So what else we got to talk about locally, closer to home? At Wesleyan, a young man died of meningitis, and he was exhibiting flu-like symptoms. They discovered that he tested positive for some sort of meningitis, and they are advising people who had close contact with him to get vaccinated for meningitis. They described close contact as sharing a water bottle. I've heard many euphemisms for close contact, but sharing a water bottle, that's a new one. And so what else? That's pretty much got and very close to home. matter of fact, affecting me, Jerry Hinkle, your host of Mind of the World. Uh, One of my part-time jobs has, against my will and better judgment, become a full-time job. Now, I haven't been scheduled for full-time hours yet. I've read the schedule 2 weeks ahead of time, so we'll see. But this week, 32 hours. Next week, 32 hours. Week after that, who knows? They never, when they had me sign this piece of paper, they never did put the effective date on there, so they'll fill in the effective date when they feel like it, I guess, and so we'll see. But I have a feeling that my lifestyle and possibly yours will change after that. But I hope that Mrs. will find a way for you and I to get together and to do the show. And so, with that said, there's no lot other to say. No sponsor this week. No props at all. So we'll just say that that's what is on the mind of the world. For oh my goodness. Oh, another thing. Almost forgot. Today, the 29th, is it? Let me check here. Get my smarty phone. September 29th. Today, September 29th, is National Coffee Day. I have been to the coffee shop, which is why I'm so wired. And so I hope that there's several coffee chains, Dunkin' Donuts and Krispy Kreme. That's exactly coffee chains, but those places are giving away coffee. I don't know if you have to buy donuts in order to get free coffee, but that's how they're doing that. So until next time, world, this is your host Jerry Hinkle from the Ashley Kringen Studios, telling you to get out of the bathroom. You're invading my privacy, and God be with you, and do the best you can.